How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Box to Box. It's FA Cup time. It's the third round, and it's Oxford away this Monday night. And I've got a special guest with me, Jack, an Oxford fan. Jack, how you doing, my guy?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm all good. I'm all good. Obviously, we're coming off the back of a 0-0 draw, so I could be a bit better, but with a 5-point lead at the top of the table, can't really complain too much considering where we've come from in the last couple of years. But first things first, Jack. First things first. Talk to me about Oxford. How do you get into supporting Oxford? I assume it's a local club, maybe family ties, and how your season's gone so far. Because I'm looking at the league table and you're about mid-table, I think 13th, 14th position. So talk to me. What's the direction your club is moving in at the moment?
Yeah, so it's a family thing. My dad, both my granddad supported Oxford United. I live in Oxford as well. So yeah, I create content around League One at Oxford United. So it is a family connection, and it's something that I've really enjoyed supporting. And for quite a long time, I'm 18 now, so I've had a sort of a good sort of 13, 14 years of really supporting the football club. And there's something about local football and opportunities like this. It's going to be such an amazing night for a local club like Oxford to have the big boys in town, the league leaders of the Premier League. It's not every single weekend you get that. It's going to be really exciting, and it's a night. We've been quite lucky in recent years of having some really quite exciting FA Cup draws and Carabao Cup and just general cup draws. But these are the nights to remember. And in our recent history, these are the memories you look back on and go, yeah, that was some night. Regardless of the result, we're not expected to get anything from this game. We're not delusional in that sense, but we're looking forward to it, and we know that this is a brilliant opportunity for the football club, a great opportunity for the fans, and it's a chance really just to sort of experience some really historical football clubs like Arsenal coming to Oxford United, coming to the county, and hopefully just putting on a really good show. So yeah, we're excited. I mean, our league form, like you say there, is a little bit mediocre. We've been really inconsistent this season. The opposite of you, really. You've been grinding out results and looking like a really strong side in the Premier League. As for us in League One, it's been quite slow, quite tedious at times. We're hoping, and we're going into a January window now, maybe we can sort of rejuvenate that squad and go again for the second half of the season. But the first half has been a little bit topsy-turvy, a little bit inconsistent. But we feel, though, this could be a little bit maybe of a building block, facing Arsenal. Like I say, not in a results area, but in a performance, maybe we could, hopefully maybe, put on a little bit of a show in some form. We don't know which form that could be yet, though.
Well, I can hear how excited you are about the fixture coming up. First question off the bat, just a bit of curiosity. Would you prefer coming to the Emirates, or as Oxford fan, do you enjoy the fact that Arsenal are coming to your town and your neck of the woods?
I think it's a good question, really. I think, to be honest with you, deep down, I think we like this type of thing with Arsenal coming to Oxford. They get to experience sort of how we get to experience every single Saturday and sort of Tuesdays in League One, really, in the depths of the EFL. Of course, going to the Emirates, it'd be an amazing day out. I know Portsmouth, of course, League One. I won't touch on who they're playing too much. I know it's an Arsenal channel, but of course they get to go to Tottenham tomorrow, so that they're going to sort of experience that day out. But for us, for another League One club, it's nice to sort of see sort of Arsenal come and sort of, like I say, experience what we'd not deal with, but how we play our football and where we play our football on a regular basis. And it's nice. It's going to be quite strange sort of seeing Carl Robinson of Oxford United manager next to Mikel Arteta, and our right back Sam Long potentially against Saka or Martinelli. These are the sort of really strange but beautiful things that the FA Cup brings. And I'm sure we'll speak about it again, but it's the beauty of the FA Cup, it's the magic of the FA Cup, and these are the moments that as football fans, all football fans, can sort of come together and go, this is why we love English football. This is why we love this competition.
Yeah, I mean, you already mentioned your form. You talked about Arsenal, so it's obvious that you watch a bit of football yourself. What's the main differences between the leagues? Obviously, quality is one thing, and that aside, what can we expect from Oxford? Obviously, League One team, not going so well in your league at the moment, but the cup competitions bring an extra sense of magic at times. So I assume that that's what you're kind of hanging on to and hoping that you can pull something out of the bag, regardless of your league form so far.
Yeah, it's performance. It isn't result. We're not silly in thinking that we're going to get or expect a result from this game or anything like that. This is a performance where we want to ultimately show that, this on television as well. So it's a brilliant opportunity for Oxford to almost not advertise, but show and really like I say, express ourselves in a performance level and really just put in a good of account of ourselves. That's what we want to do. And the biggest difference, of course, like you say, there is quality, and also it's relentless, and the intensity of the game is completely different. You're going to have, I imagine, I don't know whether or not who's going to start. I'm sort of presuming it's going to probably be on the fringes of the squad. I don't think he's going to risk the real big stars in this type of game, and I wouldn't blame Arteta for doing that. But I also think as well, although we'd like to see some of those names, we've got to understand that you've got amazing squad depth. Maybe not as much as you want to hope for in your title charge, but you should be okay coming to Oxford United. I think you might be okay with Rob Holding at the back and Ketia up front for this type of game. But that's the way it is. You've got to ultimately, from our perspective, look at who's in front of you, whether that is Saka, whether that is Martinelli, or maybe it's some other names. Just basically do the best we can possibly do. And that's all we can ask of the players. We're not going to be sitting in the stands or watching at home with a real level of expectation. We just want to enjoy the spectacle. And I think we will do that. And I hope Arsenal fans can do that as well, because this is going to be hopefully a really, really exciting encounter between two sides, really not at the complete ends of the football spectrum, but it's not, they're not too close to each other at the moment.
Yeah. Talk to me about expectation and reality. What was your expectation going into the season? Is it the reality that it is now? Somewhere around mid-table, not too far off the promotional places in the league. But what was your expectation like moving into the season, so I can get a bit more understanding of whether Oxford are overachieving, underachieving, or doing just about what everyone expected?
Well, the last couple of years, we've been in League One, and we've actually been, I guess, punched above our weight, really. We've been to the playoff final a couple of years ago. Last season, we missed out on the playoffs. The year before that, we got knocked out in the semi-final. So we have been in the playoffs and in around that top six, and aiming to become a championship club. We don't want to go into too much detail because it's quite a long story, but we're in the middle of a stadium move potentially as well. And that, again, is looking to expand what we're trying to do in a community sense, but also, the football club going forward. And in terms of ultimately growing this football club into potentially being a top 40 club, in the country. And that's really, really exciting. This year, we haven't been able to sort of continue with those expectations yet. The start of the season, and the manager, as much as sometimes that can be quite frustrating, he still believes we can get ourselves into a playoff push. You quite rightly mentioned that we're not actually that far away when you look at the points tally, and that's the beauty of League One as well. And this is an opportunity to say that the League One is really, really tight. It's so open. It's a brilliant league in the fact that teams, and we're quite low in that sense, but teams around 15th or 16th, you can go on a really good run, you can get into contention. So again, we're not where we want to be right now. We're not, we're going to be honest, we are far away from that level we have shown in performance and result in the last couple of years, but we're excited. And, we feel that we're going into a January window that we can strengthen. But yeah, we're not in the area that we have been in the last couple of years. But hopefully, like I say, we can use this FA Cup fixture and FA Cup spectacle as an opportunity to, I guess, bring a bit of confidence around the football club back, and then push on and focus on the league after that. Unless, a miracle does come and we can have another FA Cup journey this year. But let's be honest, I think it could be just an opportunity to just enjoy it, really.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You mentioned you was 18, so you would have just missed the last encounter between us, FA Cup. I think it was 2003, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah.
100th goal for Arsenal Football Club, so a big occasion in itself for that fact alone. It was a 2-0 win, but aside from that, there isn't much else to talk about in terms of recent history, and that was nearly 20 years ago now. So not too much we can take from that result, to say the least. And it's been a long time since I've seen Dennis Bergkamp in an Arsenal shirt, but fun memories indeed. Key battles. Talk to me about where you think the game is won and lost for Oxford. Who's your standout players? I think Brannigan is your top scorer in the league. Is he a midfielder, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, central midfielder Cameron Brannigan, really, really good player. Yeah, really, really good. He has been probably our best player for the last couple of years as well. I think, to be honest with you, you talk about key players for Oxford, it'd be quite maybe... I think we've got to be focused on the defence. I think our defence is going to have quite a tough workout on Monday night, so maybe focusing on them could be a good shout. We've had Kieran Brown at left back be really strong. I think the physicality is also going to be something that's going to be important. Of course, you've got the technical players, but in a game like this, we're probably not going to be dominating the ball and sort of playing a possession style of play, which really is something that Carl Robinson has adopted in League One for the last couple of years. So it is probably going to be a little bit of hit you on the break, soak up the pressure and push on from there, allow you to have the ball, because it'd be silly not to. Really, we will get picked kicked off, if we try and be a little bit more aggressive, we'll try. And again, we're not going to play 10 men behind the ball. Hopefully, we are going to try and give you a go and make it as challenging as possible. But we're fully understanding that this is going to be an Arsenal side that are going to, like I say, bring top quality players with a technical ability. The midfield's going to be important. I think games are won and lost in the midfield. It's a pretty usual thing in football, and when analysing a game of football, that is important. But I think it's going to be focusing on our defence and your attackers for a lot of the game. And if we can push on and use our midfielders and use our attackers to get into the game, I hope we start Gatling O'Donker, our young striker up front. I think he's got a little bit of physicality and strength about him, and also pace as well. And that could be important, because if we're going to play on the break or try and play a bit more direct, having someone that can hold up the ball with a bit of pace as well could be important if we are going to, like I say, play that more direct counter-attacking style. But yeah, focus on the defenders. Elliot Morse, Stuart Finley, Kieran Brown, Sam Long. These are players that are going to be, well, I think they're going to have their work cut out for the last majority of the game, but we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be, an opportunity for those players as well to, again, put a good account themselves and play against some top quality players in the Premier League.
And we've already talked about Arsenal probably going to be much changed on Monday night. I do expect a couple of the big names, let's say, to play the game, considering our squad depth to you, definitely in comparison to Oxford and where we are in the Premier League, 100%. It looks healthy. But then in comparison to a Man City or some of the
Liverpool and other times,
it's a bit light. So I do expect to see somewhat a Europa League team where you might have 2-3 of the big names, the starting 11 from the Premier League team in the side. As an Oxford fan, it's hard to say neutral because you are an Oxford fan, but who do you want to see from Arsenal? Because like you said, the big boys are in town. It's not often it happens. I'm sure you want to see a few of the Arsenal stars out there on the pitch on Oxford's turf. Who in particular would you like to see starting for Arsenal?
Well, I'm an England fan as well, so to see Bukayo Saka would be incredible. I love him as a player. I really, really do. He's quick, he's technical, he's amazing for you this season as well. He's doing an incredible job. He didn't do too badly in an England shirt, in the World Cup as well. So I love to see Bukayo Saka as a player. Like I say, I think he's brilliant. Whether or not you risk someone like that, like you say, that's what you're looking for over a winger in the January window. So would you, risk Bukayo Saka as a winger in this type of game? I'm not entirely sure. Again, I think is Nketiah probably going to be the striker. I'm trying to look at the other strikers you've got, but see Gabriel Jesus injured. Is that something? Is another striker that can come in? Maybe Balogun? Is he still available?
Balogun's on loan at the moment.
Is he on loan? Is he? Sorry.
Yeah. So we're not bringing him back. We have got another young striker, but I believe he's just coming back from injury. If he's not back already, so it's a tough one to say, Jack. I'll be honest with you. I don't really know who's gonna start the game. The striker one's interesting because we can't afford an injury to Eddie Nketiah.
No, because you're left with nobody after that, aren't you? Is that right? Pretty much.
Exactly. We'd have to start looking into the academy and bringing some more youth players through. And when you look at the age of the team and the lack of experience in challenging for titles and challenging for top honors, you want the team as fit and healthy as possible. So up front, I'm not too sure. You mentioned Saka. You mentioned the World Cup he's just had. In my opinion, England's best player at the World Cup. I don't support England, but you agree, Jack? Yeah.
No, I think he was brilliant. Like I say, to see him at the Kazan and see him at Oxford United would be brilliant. And I imagine as well, he would certainly help Arsenal on the night. Odegaard's having a brilliant season in the Premier League as well. Again, I don't know whether or not you have got midfield options. I expect someone like Fabio Vieira to come in and play in that position. He's someone that I think will get a run out and opportunity. Lokonga as well, I expect to be in that midfield. Like you say, I think you're right. I think it probably will be a Europa League type of side. But if we can sort of see, maybe you could drip feed in Martinelli or someone like that across the game. If it's 0-0 in the 60th minute, I mean, that would be an achievement in itself, but maybe you could sort of see those players come on and change the game. But you've got, like I say, a Europa League team with some top quality Premier League players on form on the bench as well. I think you should be fine. But again, it'd be brilliant to see some of those names on the hollow turf of Oxford United on Monday night.
Yeah, off the top of my head, if I was a gun to my head and I had to pick a team, or had to think of what Arteta's going to pick, I'd probably think Turner in goal, give Ramsdale a bit of a rest. I'm looking at Tomiyasu right back, Kieran Tierney left back. Solid options to say the least. I wouldn't be unhappy with them starting league games. Holding and probably Saliba. Saliba's had a lack of game time throughout the World Cup, so get his sharpness a bit more back before that Tottenham game. Then in midfield, I think the whole midfield should change, probably considering a lack of depth in some positions. El Nene will probably take Partey's role, Lokonga, Xhaka's, and Vieira, Odegaard's. And with the front three, that's where the lack of depth really kind of comes into play. Marquinhos can slot in for Saka on the right. Emil Smith-Rowe, who's returned to training recently, he didn't make the squad for the last game out against Newcastle, but I do hope to see him maybe get an hour under his belt, if not an hour, half an hour, with probably Martinelli rotating with him, depending on whether Emil Smith-Rowe can start or not. And then obviously we mentioned up top and the lack of options, so I do assume Eddie will start. So I think you will get a chance to see a Martinelli maybe on the pitch, maybe even a Saka, because even in the Europa League, Arteta's not shy to make changes. He's not, if changes need to be made, if players need 20-minute run out, he's, taken risks at times. In hindsight, the risks paid off because there have been no injuries. Unfortunately, with Jesus getting injured in his first start for Brazil at the World Cup. But in terms of our season so far, it's been a pretty clean bill of health, and long may that continue, because we need it to continue. You mentioned the key battles. Did you mention your right back?
Yeah, so it probably will be Anderson or Sam Long. We've sort of got two options there. Anderson's the more attacking option. Sam Long's the more defensive option. There's two fullbacks, but whoever they're up against, I'm sure they're going to have quite a tough time. You've got some, like you said there, maybe not as much depth as you want in those wide areas. They probably will be still being challenged. Marquinhos is a really exciting option. He's Brazilian. He brings that flair to the game. I've seen him a couple of times. He looks to be quite a youngster that probably will be, in that first team and around that first team in a couple of years. He's another really good young option with quite a few young options at Arsenal. Again, like you say, whether that's Martinelli, Smith-Rowe in those different areas, I think, again, the fullbacks could have a difficult night.
Yeah, to say the least. Before we move on to predictions, let them know where they can find you, Jack, because you've got your own channel, you're doing your own thing, and big up you as well, because you're covering that non-league football and you're doing a lot on your channel. I mean, I had a brief look at it. I looked at a few videos, so credit to you. Big up what you're doing. But let them know where they can find you. I will pin it in the title as well, but please tell them.
Yeah, so my channel's called the Young Fan Podcast. You mentioned there I did a non-league documentary, which is really exciting. But generally, the content is League One, so covering the pretty crazy league we've got in there. We've got a couple of professional, Premier League clubs and professional clubs, but they are Premier League clubs as well. Sheffield Wednesday now finding themselves in League One. Bolton are in League One as well. It's a really, really exciting league we find ourselves in. I'm an Oxford fan, obviously, so I cover those games as well. But yeah, really sort of deep diving the depths of the EFL and studying sort of League One on a regular basis. So yeah, it's exciting. And League One's done really well in the FA Cup draws. Really, like I said, Newcastle are facing Sheffield Wednesday. Tottenham, I said quietly, are going to be facing. Who are they facing? They're going to be facing Portsmouth, Tottenham, and obviously we're going to be facing some Arsenal as well. So there's going to be some really, really exciting draws in League One. So we are looking forward to it. It's obviously a League One collective, but Oxford, all eyes on the Arsenal game.
There you go, people. The Young Fan Podcast. Like I said, Jack's doing some good things over there. So if you can, check him out. Make sure you're subscribed, notification bell on. Support the people that help support this show and me and the channel and so on. So big up, Jack. But you're the home team, and as the home team, the prediction starts off with you. So what are you going with on Monday night?
I'll be totally honest. It's a prediction. I'll go with my head. I think it probably will be. To be honest, I think it probably will be 3-0 Arsenal, to be quite brutal. If we can keep it below 3, that would be a really, really good achievement. But like I said, and this isn't what you probably want to hear as a prediction segment, but it isn't really about the result for Oxford. If you wanted a scoreline, it probably will be 3-0. But we just want to put a really good of account ourselves in. We want to show that we're not going to be walked over. We don't want to be on the back foot and battered for the entire game. We want to show that we want to make it as difficult as you possibly can. But really, it's an honour to have a club like Arsenal come to Oxford United in the FA Cup. So, it will just be an exciting chance for young fans, older fans like myself, just to watch a club like Oxford and Arsenal go head to head. So yeah, in a prediction, in a scoreline, we probably will get beaten fairly comfortably, but we want to basically make it as challenging as we possibly can and last as long as we can in the 90-minute game. But I think the intensity and the relentlessness of Arsenal probably will make it quite difficult for Oxford United, I imagine.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I mean, when you're coming up against a Premier League side, the Premier League side top of the table at this moment in time, the best Premier League side at this moment in time, if you're looking at this season form and style of play and dominating majority of games, completely understandable. It's more about the occasion than anything. But sometimes without that pressure, there's an extra sense of freedom and it can loosen things up a bit. And that's why, the FA Cup brings so much magic and it's talked about in that way, because it's a chance for teams lower down to pull off scalps and pull off upsets. And, we've been on the receiving end of a few over my time as an Arsenal fan. So as much as it looks like a Arsenal victory, we've got to keep our heads screwed on and get the job done. I went 3-0 as well on Forever Arsenal, another podcast I do. So I'm actually glad you've gone 3-0 because I need the points on the board over there. We've got a little prediction league ourselves. But I don't even think 3-0 is the worst scoreline for you guys either. I know you said if you can keep it down to less, it'd be better. Of course, it'd be better. But I think 3-0, we should get the job done. Defensively, we should have enough even in our backups to secure and be solid enough to keep a clean sheet. But we'll see what type of Oxford comes out, Jack. You at the game?
I am at the game. Yeah, can't wait for it. It's we've played Man City, we've played Newcastle in the FA Cup the past couple of years, so it's a brilliant opportunity to have another FA Cup night on Monday. Been on television as well, so if you're not at the game, you can watch it on ITV, I believe it is, so you can enjoy it from home. But I will be at the game, and I'm really looking forward to it.
There you go. Enjoy, Jack. Don't enjoy too much, but I'll say enjoy, Jack. Love for coming on. Listen, big up you and what you're doing over in your channel, people. I've put it in the title. I'm going to put it in the description as well. I'm going to put his socials there as well, people. So if you've liked Jack, if you've liked his input, if you want to follow his journey as an Oxford fan, as well as the other bits of content he does do, check out his channel, check out his social medias in the description below. Show him some love. And as always, people, love for the love. Hit the like button on your way out. Leave your comments in the comment section, lineups, predictions, key battles. If you're an Oxford fan here watching this piece of content, then let us know what you think is the key battle for you. Probably a much heavily changed Arsenal side, but there should be some big names in the starting lineup. Jack, thank you for coming on, giving us your time.
Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. No worries. Maybe sometime again in the future. Hopefully.
Maybe. The replay, maybe.
The replay. Why not? Why not? Well, we could do without that, to be honest. But yeah,
it would be. Yeah, it would.
It is what it is. Love for the love, people. Hit the like button on the way out and hope you enjoyed another Box to Box. Peace. We're out.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.